Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Leading Change. My name is Emma, and I've got Ashley with me today to talk about, if you follow me, you know, one of my absolute favorite subjects of changing the way that we sell. But before I get to all the questions that I've got for you, Ashley, can you give everybody an introduction?
Yes, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I am Ashley Mastowski. I own an independent insurance brokerage here in Las Vegas, and we are turning 5 next month. So very excited. I'm a
Nope, that's
new
perfect.
mom with twins, so I'm juggling all the things right now.
And I personally am in amazement of anybody that can handle two of them at the same time, because mine are separated by 3 years, and I feel like I don't know what to do sometimes. So I can only imagine
Yes,
what
it
that
is
looks
a
like.
surefire way of just figuring out life every
Oh,
day.
yeah.
Like I'm just trying to keep 2 humans alive. That's my goal every day.
Me and you both.
Yes.
Okay, so I teased this idea that we were going to start talking about selling differently. And
Mhm.
you and I connected about something different. We got talking, and I was like, nope, Ashley, you need to come on and we need to talk about this.
Yes.
So can you just start by kind of talking through like your like general approach to sales and maybe how it looks a little different?
Yeah, I'm definitely not kind of like the Grant Cardone in your face person. I've done a million sales training courses. I've done all the like all the education things. I've been to conferences. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't feel right, it's not going to come across genuine. And I know everybody thinks insurance sales is probably similar to used car salesmen. So I think we get just a bad rap in general. But I'm actually the black sheep of my family, and I come from a long line of educators. So my family are all retired teachers or current teachers. And I knew from when I was little that, not little, I guess high school and going into college, I didn't want to be a teacher full time, like every day with a classroom full of kids. Um, and I loved business. So I got my business degree, and then pretty much I worked in sports because I'm a big sports nut and have a sports background. But then I just realized the hours, you're going to have to move around a lot to get those next level roles and things of that nature. So I knew that probably wasn't my right. And then I just had a mentor, somebody that I knew, a family friend, that said, you need to get into insurance. And I'm like, what? I don't want to do insurance. And at the end of the day, I tell people I make friends. That's literally all I do. I just go out, and I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here, but I just go out and bullshit with people and make friends and help educate them. And so it's really funny because I laugh and say I'm the black sheep of my family, and I'm not. I'm the only one who's not a teacher, but my mom always nudges and reminds me. She goes, "The way you go about it, you're teaching your clients, you're teaching the prospects, you're educating them. You come from that background, and that's how you go about. People come to you because they trust you. You've built that trust with them and that rapport, and you're not pushy. And so from there, I then educate them on why they should have these coverages, or why is the insurance market so bad? Why are your rates doubling? I just don't, give them a general answer, that everybody is doing. So I spend that little extra time, I think, in making sure that they understand what they're getting or why it is the way it is.
So there's like a couple of things that I want to like double click
Okay.
on. One, I shared with you, like I came from a teaching background and then got the intervention of like the best salespeople are teachers come into what
Yep.
I felt like was the dark side. I
Yep.
felt, and I was literally having a conversation with my husband earlier today where like this feels like what I was meant to be doing, but because I liked people and I liked
Mhm.
presenting, I was steered in the direction of being a teacher my whole life that I didn't even realize that there was this whole other
Yep.
world where
Yep.
you could do that and that you could sell in a non-traditional way. And
Mhm.
now in my mind, the best salespeople are the non-traditional salespeople.
100%.
And the other part is I love that you talk about like making friends all day long, because my daughter, when she was 4 years old and couldn't like conceptualize what sales was, she would tell people, my mom's job is to interview people and make friends. And
I
I was
love
like,
it.
you know what? That is my job. Like,
So
that's exactly
true.
what I do. And so I
Yep.
adopted that too. When
Yep.
people would ask me, I'd be like, oh, yeah, like my job is to make friends
Yep.
and help them solve their problems. And if you can
100%.
take that mindset into sales, it makes it a lot less intimidating than feeling like a used car salesman or any of the other stereotypes that we have in our minds.
Mhm.
So then I want to kind of like, everyone's going to be watching this interview and be like, oh my gosh, of course, Ashley and Emma are friends because this is like so near and dear to my heart. But I want to talk about social selling now
Yeah.
and what that looks like as a part of your strategy and how you use that as a tool to educate people.
Sure. Social media, it's one of those. It's my arch nemesis. I love social media. I love connecting with people. I think part of the reason why I love social media so much is I think I'm an introvert at heart. I'm sure we all are because it doesn't seem like it. We're always outgoing and talking and making friends. But man, I get tired and it's mentally draining. And so I go home and I feel like on social media, I can catch up with my friends without actually having to talk to people. Maybe that's like my mindset. I don't know. But I feel like when you're genuine, it really shows. And at the end of the day, I believe in the rule on social media 80/20. Nobody literally wants to hear about insurance all day long. It is very boring. I still love it and geek out over it, hence why I'm in it. But I they would much rather I get way more content on my twins and my dog than I do insurance. But when I'm constantly there and just showing my life, the real life, like it's not necessarily the highlight reel, definitely post my daughter's tantrums on the internet to make sure that people know it's not all rainbows and butterflies over here. That you're just real. People want real. Like they're done with, they know Hollywood is fake. Everybody knows it. And so I think they like to see the real life you. And I think that's just, I would say 80% of our business comes from social media, which is free because I hate saying it, but your influence, influencers are a big thing now. But at the end of the day, we've all done it, right? So, like, before influencers were a thing, I was telling people to fly Southwest Air. I was telling people to buy, iPhones because I had the original iPhone. I just really liked it. And so then you're talking to your friends, right? And you're telling your friends, oh no, you should get this and this and this. And so when you're referring things and you're talking about things you genuinely like, and then you build that rapport, people kind of can relate. That's a big word that I use is I'm relatable. I'm a frazzled mom with kids that are screaming in the background while I'm trying to work. And that's just life. And so then when it comes to, kind of fast forward, they get their insurance bill or they have a bad experience with the claims. They're like, oh yeah, Ashley does insurance. I'm going to reach out to her. So I think it's not in your face and trackable that, some of those other big sales people like, because it's hard to track, but I think it's just consistency and relatability, and you're just building that trust with people online. Yeah.
And the word that I use for that is authenticity,
Yes.
relatability,
Yes.
authenticity, whatever it is, just be yourself. Like
Yes.
go show people what it means to work with you.
Mhm.
And not on the agent broker side, on the software side, there were a lot of people that when I started doing TikToks and putting them on LinkedIn or showing like truly who I am, like I know I heard some of the stuff that was back channeling making its way to me of people
Yep.
judging and whatever else. But at the end of the day, someone who picks up the phone to work with me knows exactly who I am. They
Yep.
know that I'm going to make bad jokes. They know that I'm going to make up words when I'm talking and can't find the right
Yep.
word.
Yep.
But they also know that I'm going to consistently be there to help them because I consistently show up on social media. They
Yep.
know that I know what I'm talking about because I'm constantly talking about it. And you can't, that's the other thing. You can't hide behind like if you're consistently posting, you can't hide whether you know what you're talking about or not,
Yep.
which I think just builds so much trust and authority in your space.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't agree more with the idea of relatability and authenticity. And it doesn't have to all be business all the time. We can
No, and
have
I
a
mean,
little bit of ourselves.
but it's also, there's people that'll reach out to me with insurance questions because they feel like they can, and they know they're not going to be pressured. So like I had a family member reach out to me yesterday and I said, you know what, you actually need to stay put. Like I appreciate you wanting to come to me and helping me, but with the state of the way it is, the type of car they had, I was like, you know what, unfortunately that is a big increase, but I would be doing you a disservice. And I think I'm going to have, I mean, obviously this was a family member, so she knows who I am, but if it was just a general person, I think that would stay with them for a while. And they know that they could trust me because I did the right thing by telling them to stay put. And so you just earn that trust. So it's it's the authenticity, relatability, but then you do things like that to build that trust in people. And that I think always stays there. It might not be the right time. And that's why I always think everything's full circle. So I can still spend my time and help them. And I probably overdo it. It's just in my nature, but
I've been there too. Don't worry.
I know, you're like, oh man, I really said too much, but it is what it is. But at the end of the day, like, I think it'll come back around to me in some point in time. So I don't do it for that, but I just think as long as you're doing the right thing at all times, that's when those other, things shine.
Yeah. So the last question that I want to talk to you about is how your own buying behavior has helped also kind of like reinforce the idea of social selling. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's, speaking with, the leads that I bring in and the leads that we want, like the prospect that we want to bring in when we were trying to come up with our avatar, it's me. And it's so funny because as we were talking, we were like, okay, we want somebody in their 40s, which, hey, I'm 40 this year. We want somebody who either owns a business or is in management, the woman or the man, but professionals, more affluent, with families, at least a couple cars, owns a home. So that's like our avatar. And so as I'm saying that, I'm like, oh, well, that's me. Okay. Well, where do you find me? Where am I always at? So it actually worked out that, without even thinking of that. So it made it easier for me to figure out, okay, this is, Instagram. This is where the age range Instagram and, it's more on TikTok too, but TikTok has the younger generation, but they're still starting to get my older generation, I guess. I'm older generation now. So, I kind of am now following my buying habits, but I've always been this way before influencing was ever a thing. I've always been referral based. I will never go to the yellow pages. I don't know if you have listeners who know what the yellow pages are, but
Oh yes, we got plenty. Don't worry.
so like, I've never been a person to just randomly go because of the ad or because of, I see them in the, I won't just Google. I'm going to go to social media. I'm going to go to my friends before social media was a thing and be like, where do you get your hair done? Where do you go to eat? Where's your favorite coffee shop? I'm going to go to my friends before I ever go online and just randomly pick something. So I've always just been that way. And so I assume a lot of people are, because a lot of people want referrals. They want that because then they already have that trust going into it.
Thank you so much for joining me for the discussion. As I said, this is literally like one of my favorite topics. And I think that idea of thinking through your target buyers, where they go about their buying decisions more and more and more frequently, that is going to start to lean towards this idea of at least being influenced by social media, if not having that be the search mechanism that they're using.
Yep.
So if anybody was like questioning it, then the approach, Ashley's doing it and it's working. It's more than just Emma saying this. So listen
Yep.
and start
I back
responding.
you. I vouch you.
Yeah. But thank you again for joining me. And if
Yeah.
you're not already, make sure you connect with Ashley on LinkedIn, follow her there so that you can stay up to date on everything that's going on, and certainly let either one of us know if you've got any questions. But with that, thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Leading Change. If you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe and come back weekly for more expert interviews on digital transformation, change management, and emerging technologies.